What's up, y'all? It's your boy Alex Cherry here, the founder of Novice Principles, the newest and hottest publication out, telling a lot of great stories as they relate to music today. And I am very excited to share with you all our first ever midterm report, recapping the first 6 months in hip hop. So I'm not gonna waste any more time. Let's get into it. Man, what can be said about the first half? It was very exciting. Really stellar to see what was going on. I feel like we're in a renaissance state. A little play on words to Beyonce getting ready to drop her project that we're very excited for. But no, I feel like we're in a renaissance state. And if you recall the Harlem Renaissance or even European times, they were moving from a dark period to a time of flourishment. And I feel like that's exactly what's happening right now. We're moving into the post-COVID era, now where we're outside again and being able to enjoy the music that we're getting. But also the artists are beginning to drop meaningful projects again. It doesn't feel, back in the COVID era, where we were inside and everything. Like, music doesn't feel like it's filler anymore. And that's what I love currently what's going on. The project that we've been getting have been very impressive. They've been quality. We've been getting them at a high volume. Like you're seeing everything, everybody starting to drop projects again. And it's really crazy. Like we started the year with Gunna dropping DS4 and really, shining as an A-list artist. That was a very big moment for hip hop. I don't know if people realize that, but Gunna being able to, start the year off like that, topping the weekend for the #1 spot globally. That's crazy. Like that's crazy. And, that's something that the hip hop community, needs to understand is a very big moment for us, moving forward. Gunna, have that push and P movement. And then of course, like, we know his current situation with him, Young Thug, and the entire YSL camp. So we send the best to them. But we saw names like Latto dropping her project, Babyface Ray, Doughboy, and we see those three specifically really starting to shine, on their own and really starting to like pave their own ways for being some of the biggest artists out right now. We had Nicki, the Queen, had to come back and remind y'all that she's one of them. When we go up and then top notch, like. She dropped "Do We Have a Problem" with Lil Baby too. Like Nicki's been showing y'all that she's still here, and so I hope that we get another project from her in the second half. That would be amazing to see because I know she's far from done. And speaking of Lil Baby, like he's had a pretty calm first half, but you can kind of see him really coming back into mode. And, it's been reported, of course, that he's supposed to be dropping a project very soon, and so we hope that is the case, and we hope that he comes back and takes off. We had the biggest names in music. We had Kendrick drop a project. We had Drake drop a surprise project. We had Kanye go on the Donda 2 viewing event. So that just leaves the question, like, is J. Cole coming? Is Travis Scott coming? Of course, I can't forget one of the GOATs, Future, dropping "I Never Liked You." One of the most impressive projects this year. Like things like that are happening. Pusha T dropping "It's Almost Dry." Like there are so many moments that are happening currently in music that is making way for us to really be in another golden era. The volume and the quality that we're getting is very crazy to see. We're back outside and everybody's starting to be able to enjoy the music coming from some of our favorite hip hop artists now. So that's amazing to see. We're seeing names like Yeet, making his presence felt. Jack Harlow, of course, one of the biggest names out now, making his presence felt. And then the women, of course, like the women of rap, Cali, Glorilla, the City Girls, Flo Milli, Lakia, Ken the Man, like, those are a few names that are really starting to really hone in on themselves, and are really starting to like really make themselves felt, in hip hop. And that's so exciting to see, so we're getting pockets from everywhere, to where like we're really starting to start flourishing again in music. Santana is also one of the biggest names out in music right now. Like, there's so much going on in music, to really say that we're in a renaissance. And so it's exciting to see what the second half looks like for us. Carrying this energy from the first half into the second, and I think that it's just going to carry on. And I think that, the music that we're going to get in the second half is going to be just as good, if not better, than the volume that we got. And so we'll wait to see. All right, now that we've gotten the housekeeping taken care of, we can get into something real. Nah, but we're going to talk about the best four albums of the first 6 months. I only wanted to focus on four because I think that these four have stood out above all the rest. And also I didn't want to give y'all a long ass list. Nah, but one thing I did want to say though is that I believe social media standards have ruined the value of us appreciating music. The quality bodies of work that we've got in the first 6 months has been kind of crazy to see. But a lot of people want to be a part of the conversation, on Fridays at midnight, wanting to give like those instant reviews of projects, really trying to give these deep ass analysis of projects, that have only been out 10, 15 minutes. That's crazy to me. It's okay for you to give like those instant thoughts, whether you like it or not. It's okay to like give those initial thoughts, but are you going to go back and re-listen to it? That's the biggest thing. And one thing I've realized is that the projects that I've dropped this year, most of them weren't made like for those initial listens to, really try to take in the artistry that they show. I think about Drake's album that just dropped, 2 weeks ago. Him being the biggest artist in music, like, of course he's gonna garner that attention, so everybody wants to, get those retweets off and things, but it's not that, and you start to see the conversation. You're starting to see the conversation come back around now to where people are saying, "Oh, like the album's not that bad." Like, of course it's not that bad. Like he's been curating a vibe for us for forever. And like I said, even if you're on the opposite side, me personally, I don't believe that Kendrick's album is one of the better albums on the year. Not to say that it's not good; it's good, but I don't think it's one of the a top 10 type album on the year. I just think that there are a lot more cohesive projects. I don't think that there were any true moments on that project for the most part. We Crying Together is probably the biggest moment that I can think of, with the film type storyline that he has on there. Not too many moments in my opinion. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about that one. But now I really want to get into my top four. I had to get that spiel off. So I'm going to start with Vory's Lost Souls, from the toxic lyricism to the dark production. Vory was a name that weren't on too many people's radar, to be honest, this year. We didn't know what we were ever going to get from him, from after hearing from Kanye's camp, so one of my favorites this year thus far. If you haven't listened to the project, you need to go listen to that. Latto 777, like Latto's a star in the making. She showed her true artistry, like from the self-titled part 1, part 2 tracks on there, giving us those hard hitting rap verses, giving those melodic records as well, having like star features like 21 and the one of the biggest stars in music ever, Mariah Carey, on the Big Energy remix. Like she created moments on that project, and it's amazing to see, how that album is progressing. It's been in my rotation. Gunna DS4. Don't even got to say too much about that. Gunna's been running things since January up till now. DS4 has a lot of longevity. It's gonna be played throughout the summer. I was checking out my Apple Music the other day. Poochie Gown was my number one song. Pushin' P was the hottest song at one point. Like Gunna really amazed us all with DS4, and then Pusha T is almost dry. Pusha T has been one of the most authentic, rappers as in terms of what he's given us over time. You're with this project, you're literally seeing no fall off between Daytona and this one. The cohesive production, from Kanye and Pharrell on It's Almost Dry. One thing I've learned is that as much as he brings the best out of both of them, they bring the best out of him. So like it's almost dry has this grit to it that makes it such a nonstop album, bro. Like I was blown away. For people from Virginia, like it feels like a true, authentic Tidewater type project. It takes you back to the Clip days, in my opinion. But one of the better albums this year. It's almost dry is gonna be in that conversation when we get to the end of the year when we start talking about album of the year. It was really that good, and Push being a certified legend in this game, like he's gonna be around for however long he wants to be, and deservingly so. So that's my top four. Man, artist of the half, is a very interesting one. Um, because I think you have to look at, the instant impact that they've had, the consistency that they've had, um, as well as what they've been able to do. And these four, I believe, have, exceeded all of those. Um, when we're just talking about artists of the half. So I believe that Babyface Ray is coming in at four. I think, from him being an underground artist in the beginning of the year, to dropping Face, which I think blew everybody's expectations out the water. But, for people who have been keeping up with Babyface Ray for a while now, whether it have been on Yachty's project last year, to his own, Babyface Ray's own stuff, Unfuckwittable, MIA season, his projects. Babyface Ray has had like the most consistent trajectory, and he's now like really being put into a star role. And we love seeing it because he's beginning to open up doors for other Detroit artists to shine. So we talking about impact, like Babyface Ray is definitely his impact on the year, as well as having one of the, better projects of the year. Three is Latto. I think Latto being able to, move past that controversy that she had, in 2021, to now and then dropping the project that she did, being able to sell out, on her tour, really being able to establish herself as one of those household names in music. I believe that she definitely had one of the biggest first halves of the year. Jack Harlow, coming at two. It's undeniable that Jack Harlow's impact is just not there. Jack Harlow has taken off, from last year, from the album that he dropped last year. Amazing project, if you've been keeping up with him, to just like dropping the project this year, even though it's one of the more polarizing projects, we're just now seeing Jack being put into that spotlight, that we've been seeing him like shift towards to for a while now. And so, of course, when you look at Twitter reviews and things, like you don't get the full picture. But when you really listen to, his latest project, you see the artistry that's in there. Him being able to get the cosign from Kanye this year, from Drake this year. There are a lot of major artists who have been co-signing Jack this year as one of the major players for the future of music. So it's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting, when you see that. But, his impact is global. Him being able to have a number one record this year with First Class. Jack's impact is undeniable, as far as music goes in the first half. And so that's why he's on this list. And then Gunna. Of course, I think Gunna is probably the artist of the half. Starting us all off this year with DS4, the project being able to maintain longevity through the entire 6 months. The entire P movement that Gunna had. Gunna was everywhere. Like we saw him overseas, like we saw him at the Met. Gunna was everywhere. He was visible. He was consistent. Gunna was a major player to, the vision of the first half, and he's one of the major reasons why that we're moving into a golden era for the year. is very unfortunate about what's going on. But regardless of that, Gunna has been able to keep his name, in the spotlight, the entire 6 months, um, positively. So, I'm very excited about that. It's unfortunate because we likely probably won't get much music from him, in the second half, but who knows what's gonna happen. Um, but those are my four artists of the first half. Oh, I love this one. I love this one because these are a few names that I've been keeping up with consistently, and one thing about them, they all have something distinctive and unique about their approach to music that separates them from other artists. And it gravitates you towards them. It gravitates you towards their sound and gravitates you to their music overall. So I got to start up in Virginia. Saki, Saekyi. If you haven't heard of him, music is phenomenal. It's vibrant. It's something that's special in my eyes, and something that people need to get very familiar with. Aldams is another name. He just dropped a single not too long ago with Pusha T. That is crazy. So if you haven't heard it, go listen to that. Aldams is another name out of Virginia. Those are two names out of Virginia that I believe are making waves, and that are making waves. And going to be household names, down the line, when it's all said and done. Rock Ken has one of my favorite projects on the year, even when you compare it to some of the major projects. It's called Free Me, and so if you haven't tapped in, go tap into that. I'm wishing him the best. He's got a current situation going on, and so hopefully that doesn't hinder him from being able to drop music in the second half, because he's very talented. Draft Day is another name that has dropped a slew of singles. I don't if y'all know straight out, Lil Yachty's Concrete Family. Draft Day is very talented, and he's a name coming up that is shooting for the stars, and a name that's going to consistently be here, and it's only a matter of time before he really takes off, and I think that's going to happen, sooner rather than later. So I'm excited to see from him whether he drops a project in the second half or not. Callie is another name. Callie dropped Toxic Chocolate at the beginning of the half. Phenomenal. She's been doing a lot of great things. She was on the XXL freshman cover not too long ago. So if you haven't checked out her freestyle, then go check that out. Hopefully by the time this drops, the freshman cipher will be out. But Callie's a name to continue to keep up with. Ken the Man, also on the Double XL freshman cover, is another name to keep up with. If you haven't heard What's My Name, go check that out. Please go check that out. She's a hard-ass lyricist from Houston, bro. Like, Ken the Man is one of them ones. Like, she the truth. So, tap into her, for real. And then Lil Double O, straight out FBG, with Future pushing him. Like, he's got Walk Down Gang out right now, if you haven't heard that. Lil Double O is one of my favorite artists I've been keeping up with, for some time now. Who I believe is gearing up to have a major second half. And so I'm excited to see what happens for him. I'm excited to see what happens for all these artists that I just said. And so if you haven't heard of any of them, go check them out. If you have, then you already know I'm telling the truth. So yeah, these are my names to watch in the second half. Man, the what's coming, like, it's so much shit coming up, bro, that I'm very excited about. But for those that don't know, or you do know, Novice Principles, a creative publication centered around emerging artists and present day storytelling and hip hop. So there are two components, that we've really been taking on. One is the emerging artists being able to tell their stories, being able to really put y'all on to who we believe is up next type. And I've loved being able to cover so many in the first 6 months, be a part of a few artist rollouts. And that's something that's coming up, and that's going to continue to happen. For us, is really being able to detail their albums, being able to help out with those press runs and things like that. So I'm excited for that to continue to grow, and for us to really being able to continue to highlight, the young stars in music. That's so big for me because I feel like we're always looking for new music, and so utilizing Novice to find, you know, great new names, fresh names. Like that's what I love. And then the present day storytelling in hip hop, like, you know, one thing that, you know, we were able to do, and I'm very appreciative of, is being able to cover, you know, a few events on a press side. You know, we're bringing the journalist aspect of, you know, press and covering live events, telling the stories of the events, you know, before they even happen, as well as, you know, the coverage that happens during it and the post coverage. You know, I've loved being able to do that, and that's something that's coming up, you know, for us doing more of, as well as more event coverage. Um, so I'm just very excited for that. You know, being able to, you know, write about, you know, some of the biggest names out in music, write about their albums, being able to do reviews on those. You know, Novice has so many different facets that make it this entire, you know, structure. Um, and I love that. But I'm very excited for what's coming, you know, in those realms. More playlists, of course. You know, more collaborations. We've got merch coming out towards the end of the year. You know, I've got ideas for just more. So I'm excited. I'm very excited for what's coming. I'm thankful for what's coming because, you know, we put in the work. But it's just so crazy thinking about that and saying that, because we've only been around for a year and a half now. Um, but to see like the consistency and to see the progress that's going on is phenomenal. And we're just gonna continue to keep pushing. We're gonna continue to keep growing. You know, so I hope that y'all stay tuned in with us for sure, because a lot of great things are happening, and I'm very appreciative of all the support this far. So make sure you hit that like button, that subscribe button, go follow us on one of the various social media platforms, and stay tuned for, you know, what's next, and we'll see y'all at the end of the year wrap up.